Hello and welcome back to the 8th episode of the 451 podcast with myself, Phil and Cam. If you enjoy anything football related on the channel, make sure to give it a like, subscribe and tell your mates as well. Any support and feedback at this stage of the podcast will be greatly appreciated. Also, we have an Instagram at the 451 podcast, so make sure you go over to there and check us out there too. So, we'll start off with our usual segment, Game of the Week. We all decide on a game of the week and discuss why we think it was. So, Phil, I'll start with you. Your game of the week.
So my game of the week this week is the one that happened on Saturday evening between Watford and Liverpool. Obviously it ended 3-0 to Watford, a scoreline you'd never predict. But no, 2 goals and also an assist from Sarr put Liverpool to the sword and inflicted the first Premier League defeat in 44 matches. Obviously the last time Liverpool lost was against Man City at the beginning of 2019. But no, Watford, full value for the win. Troy Deeney bullied Lovren. The whole Liverpool defence was shaky. Arnold making the error for the third goal. It was a brilliant performance from Watford and one that they thoroughly deserved. Cam, what's your game of the week?
Well, I don't want to be too biased, but I'm obviously going to agree with you as that game of the week, especially with Liverpool losing their unbeaten run ending and it stopping any chances of them going a full season unbeaten. I've got to agree. I think this loss has been coming. They haven't looked unbeatable. I thought they have had a lot of luck this season, but credit to them, but it has been coming. And I think the first game against Watford deserved at least a point or a win in that. So it was a brilliant performance by Watford, and I'm glad Liverpool finally lost.
Yeah. Do you think, off the back of obviously Tuesday's loss in the FA Cup as well to Chelsea, do you think this is just a minor blip, Phil, or do you think it perhaps maybe something a bit bigger than that? Maybe it's the start of a potential, bottle job.
I think at the moment you have to take it as just a blip. When you put things in perspective, they hadn't lost for 44 games before this game against Watford. Obviously they've lost 3 of the last 4, which you wouldn't have really expected. I don't think it's anything to worry about as of yet, but players do certainly need to pick up the performances, because for quite a lot of them it's not been good enough. I think the arrival of Jordan Henderson can't come quick enough for the team now.
I think it, like you said, it puts into perspective kind of the achievements that Liverpool have made over the past year and a half, and as well, what you're saying about Jordan Henderson, how important he actually is to that Liverpool team, considering he was a bit of a joke, considered as a joke to rival fans 2 or 3 years ago. So yeah, it's
even some Liverpool fans as well. I can think of plenty who have written him off throughout the years, and obviously this season he's proved himself. I just think with this, I think like Cam says, I think the defeat has been coming, because there has been quite a few games I can think of where the full-time whistle goes and they've been winners, but you think, that was a bit not lucky, but they could have easily gone on to lose that game. But I think that's a testament to the mentality and everything they've worked towards. But I think it's in a way it's good to see them lose in a way that Watford beat them in. I think if they'd lost through like a 90th minute winner, I think it'd be a bit hard done by after being on such a good run. But I think someone dominating them from start to finish like that, I think it does go. I think it's a wake up call more than anything, because they're not this invincible side that they've been portrayed to be in the media and through many Liverpool fans this season. But yeah, that's all I have to say about it, really.
That's all, yeah.
Right, so my game of the week, I've got a different Premier League game. I've got Brighton 0, Crystal Palace 1. I know you just looked at me with disgust, but
Game of the week of the whole of Europe.
Goals aren't everything, though.
That's what it's. I'm basing this off the actual action in the game and kind of how fascinating it was to watch. I think Brighton are so good, like moving the ball from back to front, but then they get it in front of goal, and they just don't know how to find the back of the net. I thought it was interesting with the imbalance of Brighton's attack, but they're also a bit shoddy defence, and also Palace's really strong defence, and trying to hit them on the counter attack with Benteke and Ayew. But I think Palace's defence. I know I just said Brighton aren't great in front of goal, but I think it's a testament to how good Palace's defence actually is, and I don't think they get enough credit. Nor do I think Roy Hodgson gets enough credit for the work he puts in as well. I think his legacy was kind of tainted by the Euro 2016 run with England, but as a club manager, think about the work he did at Fulham, at West Brom. I think he's really underappreciated.
Can't forget a stint at Liverpool either, can you?
Well, yeah, barring that maybe. But yeah, when he gets into clubs, what he does is he makes them hard to beat, and Palace have been that a lot this season. Only conceded 32 goals in the Prem this season. That's less than Chelsea, Spurs and Wolves. But they've only scored 25, so that's the only kind of caveat to that. Do you think if Palace kind of made strides to trying to put like good players in their attack, do you think they'd be maybe pushing for top 7?
No, I don't think there's too many teams fighting for that. Yeah, I think you've got the original top 6, like the big 6, which everyone says, and then this season you've got 4 or 5 other teams all fighting for them spaces, and I don't think they could. There's just too many teams for it, and there's a lot better teams than them.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I looked to the likes of Wolves and Leicester, Everton,
Sheffield United,
and even Southampton this season. Maybe Crystal Palace arguably are better than Southampton, but I think you look at the teams around them, I think they're stronger, especially Wolves, Sheffield United and Leicester this season, obviously Leicester in third. I think they are a good team, and on the day they can beat anyone, as we've seen throughout the years. He beat the likes of Liverpool or Manchester City, home and away.
Yep.
So they've certainly got the ability to get results like that, but it's doing it on a consistent basis against everyone. I don't think they've got the squad for that. Even if they got a couple of attackers in, I think they still struggle to get these results every week.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's weird because they're so good away from home as well. I think it probably suits them playing away from home more often than at home, because a team that's set up not to have the ball and play on the counter attack, and at home you always have a tendency to have more of the ball, just because that's what the crowd want. They want entertainment, and obviously it's not the most entertaining style of football. But yeah, playing away, they're definitely a lot better than what they are playing at home. So we'll move on. We'll move to the main discussion of the video. So barring the news this time last week, that the Premier League announced there would be a Hall of Fame and 2 people will be inducted. Is it March 19th?
That's when the first 2 inductees are for it, aren't they?
So 2 inductees. So we've come up with a goalkeeper selection, a defender's selection, midfielder, attacker and manager. So yeah, we'll get started. Goalkeepers. Cam, I'll come to you first. Who springs to mind in terms of goalkeepers that should be inducted for the Hall of Fame?
I think for goalkeepers it was quite a tight decision, but I've gone for Peter Schmeichel in the end. Obviously, he's won the 5 league titles, all in Manchester United between 1992 and 1999. He's also played for Man City and Aston Villa. He was Player of the Season in the Premier League in 1996, and when you're talking about Premier League Hall of Fame, I think you've got to consider the goalkeeper that got selected for the English Football Hall of Fame in 2003.
Is that an actual thing?
Yeah. I didn't realise until I was doing my research for this either, to be honest. But so the English Football Hall of Fame. And he was selected for Team of the Century between 1907 to 2007.
Jeez.
So that shows his qualities and what's thought of him. So I can't really look past Peter Schmeichel.
Okay. Phil, I'll come to you.
So I've gone for another Manchester United goalkeeper, Edwin van der Sar. It was quite a tight call between him and Peter Cech for me. Obviously, Schmeichel was one of those I was tempted to go for as well. But I look back to how good that United team were, and I think if it weren't for having such a goalkeeper in that goal, although they still had a great defence and a great team, I think he was a big part of that. He only conceded 109 goals in 313 appearances, which I think is a very good stat compared to the goals that you see goalkeepers concede. I think De Gea has conceded 300 odd, and obviously we all laud how good he was. Maybe not as much nowadays.
Yeah.
But I think he was just such a good goalkeeper throughout that golden spell for Manchester United, where he was winning league title after league title. And for me, I'd look no further than Edwin van der Sar.
Okay, so I have gone with Petr Cech. Just based on longevity, I know, like you said, Peter Schmeichel, obviously, brilliant goalkeeper, a bit before my time though. Edwin van der Sar as well. But 443 appearances, 1,005 saves, 202 clean sheets, the most in the Premier League, and 2 Golden Gloves. And he's also done it at Chelsea and probably about half of his spell at Arsenal before he started to deteriorate. But yeah, I think Petr Cech, based on longevity and quality, in that Mourinho side as well, that was so hard to beat. I think Petr Cech for me, based on, like I said, longevity for the third time. So based on that, I'd probably go with Petr Cech. That might be recency bias, but yeah, that's what I'd go with. So I'm sure we'll probably not have too many disagreements on the next one. Defenders.
Well, I've gone for John Terry. 5 league titles, the most successful captain in the Premier League history, and obviously for a defender, making 492 appearances in the league and scoring 41 goals, which makes him the all-time top scoring defender. He was in the PFA Player of the Year in 2005, and you can't really look past someone that was selected for 5 consecutive FIFA Pro World 11s between 2005 to 2009. It was tight, and I tried not to be biased. I could have gone for Rio Ferdinand. It was a tight decision. What about you, Phil?
So, I'm sort of still now just stuck between John Terry and Rio Ferdinand. Between them both, they've won 11 league titles. Ferdinand winning 6, but I think I'll have to go for John Terry as well, because I don't think we've seen a centre-back like him. Obviously, so good defensively. He had a tackle success rate of 77%, which when you span over 492 appearances and 448 tackles, I think that's an impressive stat to have. And then, like Cam touched on, scoring 41 goals as a centre-back in arguably the best league in the world is something you have to be impressed by. Obviously, as a defender, clean sheets is what you want, league titles is what you want, but having goals in your game as well is an extra element which makes him better, I think, than any other centre-back that we've seen in the Premier League.
Yeah, I'm tied between Terry and Vidic. I know Vidic didn't have as many appearances, but think about this: 211 appearances, 95 clean sheets, 2 Player of the Years. I think they were back to back as well. 5 times Prem winner, 75% tackle success, and only 27 losses in 211 games. Think about to that Man United team of like 08, 09. Vidic and Ferdinand were considered as the best pairing, defensive pairing in the world. So horrible to play against. Vidic as well, an absolute shithouse, I think it's fair to say. So yeah, I think as a City fan, I can kind of appreciate Vidic and what he's done for United just over a decade ago. So are you agreed on Terry not budging?
I'll easily be swayed towards Ferdinando Vidic. Not gonna lie. Yeah, I'll go for either one of them.
I think another mention is Vincent Kompany. Obviously, a major part of the Man City team that's won 4 league titles in the last decade. I think from where City were to where they've come from, Kompany was the main reason in that. Part of the spine for pretty much all of that journey they had. and he kept 94 clean sheets in 265 appearances, which I think is a very good stat to have as well. For me, he's not the best, but I think he has to be mentioned in that sort of debate on who's the best, because he's won 4 Premier League titles, and I think that elevates him to be part of this discussion.
I think the main quality that all of them have, they're all good defenders, but they all step up when it's needed, and they're all leaders. They push the teams on, their teams to do better, and I think that's the main quality.
Yeah. So, probably the most interesting discussion on the podcast today. Midfielders. I'm sure we've all got our own biases and whatnot. So, Phil, I'll start with you. Your induction for the midfielder section of the Hall of Fame.
So, for this section, it's incredibly difficult, I think, for all of us to settle on one. I think there's three players that we all could put an up argument for, but I'm going to be biased. I'm going to go for Steven Gerrard as being the best midfielder in Premier League history.
Why is that?
Just, he made 504 appearances, 120 goals and 92 assists in this time, but when you look at that Liverpool team he was in, I don't think you can really... It weren't the same quality as a Chelsea side, Man United side, and he was the captain of it, who I think he spurred them on to even greater places than he was, like what that team were capable of. Because I know you two are going to argue that there was no Premier League titles and things like that, which is fair, like you can't look past that, but in terms of the best, for me, like you have to look at someone who has the leadership qualities to elevate players around him. Because in a lot of the teams, he said it himself that there was only him and maybe another couple of players who was world class in his opinion. The rest was average, and I think Lampard and Scholes had world class players all around them. And for me, I'm not saying they carried Lampard or Scholes, because he was both incredibly talented, and obviously Lampard's output in the Premier League is ridiculous. But for me, I'm sort of set on Gerrard. You can't look past him as a Liverpool fan.
Did he win Player of the Year at all, Gerrard?
No, he didn't. But he was in the PFA Player of the Years numerous times. He's won 6 Player of the Months in the Premier League.
Player of the Month.
You brought it up yourself as well. Obviously, we can't look past the fact that he hasn't won a league title. If you have to select one midfielder from the whole of the Premier League era, and
if this was a debate on who's most successful, Gerrard wouldn't be in that debate. But we're talking about the best.
Yeah, but
in terms of
for a Premier League Hall of Fame, I think they have to have at least won one Premier League. Otherwise, I'll chuck Gareth Barry in there because he has the most appearances.
But I'm not making a case of Gerrard on his appearances. I'm talking about how good he were, and how many midfielders around the world, how many players have said Gerrard's one of the toughest and one of the best players.
Yeah,
they've come up against
him. They say
him.
that quite a few players. Yeah.
Same with.
No, they do. But what I'm saying is that they've said this many times over the years about Gerrard, and for me, I'm not looking past him. He's the best in Premier League history.
The one midfielder.
For me, yeah. I've mentioned other two. I've not been completely biased. I'm not written off the other two because I appreciate how good they were. But for me, I think Gerrard is the best Premier League midfielder to play.
I'd consider it.
Not for long though.
Not for long though. I mean, just the fact that he's not won a
I think
Premier League kind of.
I agree that he's a top player, and obviously, but it's just staring you in the face the facts that. Anyway,
he's seething, right? So, Cam, I'll move to you. I can almost guess who you're going to select, but
maybe not.
Oh, okay.
Maybe not. I think obviously there's that discussion between Scholes, Gerrard, and Lampard, but I've gone for a player that played left mid in his career and later moved to centre mid. Later on, Ryan Giggs, Premier League Hall of Fame. When you think Premier League, he started at 22 seasons. He played in the Premier League and scoring.
Hold on. He was going about Gareth Barry with his appearances, playing for 22 years.
All right then. So appearances, he did hold the most Prem appearances until Gareth Barry. But he has 13 Premier Leagues, something that no other player can say.
That's 13 more than Gerrard.
Yeah. He has the most assists in Premier League history with 162. He was in PFA Team of the Century, like Peter Schmeichel in 2007. PFA Team of the Decade in 2003, PFA Player of the Year, something that Gerrard can't say as well, in 2009, and he was inducted into the English Hall of Fame in 2005. And I don't think there's much argument against that.
No.
When we set out the criteria, I'm not knocking any player who's won that many accolades and trophies, because, like I've said before, when I made a case for Gerrard, there's many players from United and even Lampard who have won more trophies and any achievements than Gerrard has. But when we set out the criteria, Lucas, we said, who do we think the best? If we was going off trophies, Gerrard wouldn't be part of that debate. But I've gone for who I think's best.
But I've gone for that as in terms of, obviously, his age, the longevity to stay in that Manchester United team competing for trophies every season. He stayed at that level and he adapted his game to work in different ways. And to stay in that team and not get pushed out by anyone over that amount of time, I think that proves that he is the best.
I disagree.
Okay. Is there any reason behind that?
I just think... I've grown up watching Steven Gerrard week in, week out. And for me, I've not seen a midfielder better than that. And I'm going off who I think's best. I appreciate whoever you would say is best, but this is my argument.
So if I said Luis Bellamorte, you wouldn't argue that?
It's your opinion.
You've got the stats to back it up.
I'm going with my opinion.
Who is your midfielder, Lucas?
Well, it's actually Lewis Bowman. No, it's Frank Lampard. Like you said, output, highest goal-scoring midfielder in the Prem, I believe. 177 goals. It'll be like 5th or 6th all time. A Player of the Year, one more than a certain Liverpool captain in 2005. 3 times Prem winner. 9 consecutive years of scoring 10 or more in a season, in a Premier League season. And obviously the longevity of 607 appearances, doing it constantly as a youth for West Ham, in his prime for Chelsea, and even a spell for my beloved Manchester City for a season. I just think when you think of that Chelsea team that Mourinho built, you think how it was more or less built round Frank Lampard. I think one of the best Premier League teams in history, and him being kind of more or less the main part in that. I think Frank Lampard for me, and he's also a better manager than Steven Gerrard as well, so he's got that over him also.
Is there any arguments against that one, Phil?
I'm sticking to Gerrard. Nothing that anybody could say would change my mind. But we're all set on ours, so we've gone for Gerrard.
I can't argue much against Frank Lampard either.
And Lampard, Gerrard, Lampard, and Giggs. Goes in that order as well.
So, Lucas, if we were to settle on one, it'd be between Lampard and Giggs, yeah?
Do you think Ryan Giggs was a better player than Gerrard?
Oh, that's a tough one.
To adapt his game like he did, to he was the best left winger in world football at one point, and then to adapt his game and become a centre mid and control the tempo of games and come in when it's most important. Yeah.
I don't know. That's tough.
That is tough. It is different because they were different positions on it.
I know it's all ifs and maybes and stuff, but if Gerrard, what happened to Gerrard in that 2014 season? It would have been a completely different debate.
I just don't do it, but some
he's had his image tainted from that moment, in my opinion. And I think it's easy for other fans to make a case for anyone else and knock him. But he was an incredible player, acting like he was average. Yeah. Gerrard was one of the best midfielders that we've ever will watch.
Yeah. I can't disagree with that. But if I was to select one, I'd just have to select a Premier League winner for a Premier League Hall of Fame.
Yeah.
Sorry, Phil.
Yeah, sorry,
like I said, everyone's entitled to their own opinion, and I'm sticking to mine.
I don't know, because if you ask me who's a better player, I'd probably say Gerrard.
Just if you put on like a side-by-side picture of the teams they played in each year. Fair enough, Gerrard had a world-class midfield with Alonso and Mascherano, but apart from them two for only a couple of years, and Torres up front, he didn't really play in amazing sides.
You could argue the one that nearly won the league.
Yeah, but then look at the defence. Like, if you
Yeah.
look at that now, like, they conceded 50-odd goals and they're going for the league.
Yeah.
I think Gerrard said it himself in his autobiography and everything, and even Carragher and all the pros that spoke to him since, they all agree that he carried that Liverpool team, and that's why I've chosen him.
I'm not giving him a sympathy vote though because of the team.
Oh no, I'm not
yeah.
saying we should give him a sympathy vote. I'm going off who's best. I don't think any of those other players could have carried the team like Gerrard did, in my opinion.
I think better player, Gerrard, more deserving of being inducted into the Hall of Fame gigs, for me.
Fair enough.
For me, out of those two. But obviously Lampard.
Yeah.
Lampard first.
We're not going to get very far on this one, are we? I think
No,
everyone's
I
sticking
think
to their own.
we're not budging really. We've
Yeah.
kind of stuck to.
It was an interesting discussion though, like you said.
Yeah, I
just
thought it would be. I'll just mention two others as well. Paul Scholes, just very quickly. Paul Scholes, 499 appearances, 107 goals, 55 assists, 11 times Prem winner. Obviously, brilliant player as well. And Patrick Vieira, 307 appearances, 31 goals, 34 assists, one player of the year, and 3 times Prem winner as well.
I think you have to mention Roy Keane as well in that one.
Yeah, I was thinking about that.
Yeah.
If you mention Patrick Vieira, you kind of have to mention Roy Keane in the same breath. Yeah, but
Before we move on, where would you, obviously, one of the players I'm going to mention, the career's not over yet, but where would you rank De Bruyne in relevance to these players we're mentioning here?
I think it's difficult because I think them players have the longevity in their career, and De Bruyne, for how many seasons he's been here, is injured for more than a full season as well.
yeah, no, I agree.
So when he's retired, you don't think he'll be in part of the debate?
It depends
of
how
who's
many
the
more
best Premier
seasons.
League midfielder ever.
It depends how many more seasons he plays for.
Yeah, see how many appearances he racks up. Cause if
Yeah,
he gets
'cause-
maybe like 300 plus, then yeah, I think he might.
He's
be in
obviously,
conversation.
he should do. It'd be a disaster if he doesn't break the assist record this season. So,
Yeah,
yeah.
no, there is a case for that, definitely. We'll move on finally to the final unit of the pitch, the attackers. I've got 3. I've narrowed it
Well,
down.
what about one?
Yeah, I've narrowed it down to 2.
You need one, Lucas.
Yeah.
Well, I'll come to one of you first. We'll go to who answered first last time.
Me.
Phil.
Oh, yeah, it's Phil, yeah.
Yeah, so we'll go to you, Cam.
Um,
Your attacker.
my striker is Alan Shearer.
Mm-hmm.
All-time top scorer in the Premier League, 260 goals. It's only now that it's starting to look like it could be broken. I don't think it will.
Who by?
Aguero.
Do you think?
I don't think it will, but it's the first time it's started to get into conversation about it. I don't think it will happen, but it's the first time we're even starting to talk about it. So that shows how good his record is. 3 times Golden Boot, and to win the league with Blackburn and come so close with Newcastle again. Not playing in top teams, you'd say, and still have that record. He had everything. He had heading, long range, poaching. Yeah, I don't really think you can look past the top scorer, all-time top scorer.
Yeah, Phil.
Excuse me.
Yeah, I don't think you can look past the all-time top scorer if I had to select one player. What about you, Phil?
Yeah,
I've gone for Alan Shearer as well. I think the fact he's 80 goals clear of the Aguero, the only player that's still playing in like the top 12 list of all-time Premier League goal scorers. I think it's testament to both Aguero and Shearer. But no, I think that record won't be broken.
Do you not think it'll be broken?
Well,
Oh God, that's what your voice today.
certainly not by Aguero. The fact
Okay,
that he's
alright.
won the Golden Boot. No, I think because
Certainly.
Aguero's getting on in his career now. Is he 30 now?
32, 31.
31. So I think he only has a couple more years left at the highest level. And is he going to be scoring 30, 40 goals a season? Because he's got injured a lot in his career, which I think if he hadn't been, he would have been closer to how he is to Shearer now.
Mm-hmm.
But, he's won 3 Golden Boots in a row. He's only one of 2 players to ever have done that. Thierry Henry being the other. He won Player of the Year in the season at Blackburn, won the league. Player of the Month once that season as well, and he won it a further 3 times throughout his career. I just think there's no other striker that's been... There's obviously many world-class strikers, that's played in the Prem. But I think Alan Shearer's clear of all of them.
Yeah, I think I'm going to agree. But I'll just mention a very close second. Thierry Henry. 258 appearances, 175 goals, 74 assists as well. So that output, I think that's 259 goal contributions in 258 games. It's not bad for a league of that standard, and
Messi-esque.
Yeah, literally. 4 times Golden Boot, 2 times Player of the Year, 2 times Prem winner as well, and he only lost 39 times. So, there you go. So yeah, I think I don't really need to mention much more about Alan Shearer. I think you two have covered it quite well. Kind of legend of the Premier League, legend of Newcastle. Yeah, I think based on that goal record, I think you can't really look past him as not being inducted. So have we agreed on?
I think we can all agree on one thing for once. Yeah.
Agree on Shearer. So I'll just run through the players real quick. If we had to settle on a goalkeeper, which way would you go? Because
obviously I said Schmeichel.
Mm-hmm.
I said Van der Sar, but I think because I had Peter Cech in that discussion, Peter Cech probably. If you've gone for him.
Yeah, I don't think I'm budging.
two against one, innit? We'll have to settle for Petr Cech then.
Petr Cech for the goalkeeper. Okay. Defenders.
For me, John Terry.
John Terry,
I think. Yeah, I'd agree with that as well.
Oh, no.
Midfielders.
I'm not.
We're not getting anywhere on this one.
No, I think we all have a different opinion on
a
this.
free-headed
two
selection.
really, innit?
Oof, 2. Yeah, reel it in. And strikers.
Alan
Shearer.
Yeah.
A manager.
I think this
bugger.
isn't even.
Forgot about that.
Yeah, but we know this isn't a discussion, really.
I think there's only one
it's
manager, and it's Alex Ferguson.
Yeah, has to be.
There's no looking past it.
No.
He's got some incredible stats. 11 Manager of the Year awards, 27 Manager of the Month awards, 13 Premier League titles, more than any other manager in Premier League history. I think if you tried to make a case for any other manager, you'd be getting nowhere. I think for all of us, he'd be the manager of any team we chose, wouldn't he? If you had to select a Hall of Fame.
Yeah, I think just like you said, no one's come close based on league titles won, and being able to adapt in different kind of eras of the game, kind of stretching back from the start of the Premier League to kind of moving into this era now.
Yeah, the amount of new managers that have come in, competitors that he's had, and to fend off all of them, more or less,
Yeah, so we agreed on that.
Yeah,
doesn't really require too much discussion, does it? So we'll move away from that. So just to wrap it up, Petr Cech in goal, defence John Terry. I'll leave midfield. Attack Alan Shearer, and manager Sir Alex Ferguson. That's if managers are being inducted as well as players. So we will move on very quickly to the preview. We've got 4 more games across 4 different countries that look pretty tasty this weekend. So we've got, first of all, England here. We've got Man United versus Man City, the Manchester derby on, is it Sunday? Yeah. I lost my voice then. Both teams in a good run of form. Bruno Fernandes has been brilliant for United. I don't think they've lost since he's been signed. City are also in good form, obviously, off the back of their League Cup win on Sunday, which I was delighted about. And obviously their Champions League win as well. Was that last week? Was that last week? Shuffling now. But after kind of this fixture's been played out 3 times already this season, do you think it favours Man United just because I think right now they have the mental edge? Do you think it favours them, or do you think it favours City?
I'm really not sure. How many injuries have you got? Is Laporte out?
Laporte's out.
Yeah, I think
I think Sane might be back.
I think just Laporte being out, I think that's a massive blow. Obviously, he hasn't conceded a goal in the last 4 games when he's played. I think that'll be one of the major things. And obviously, you mentioned Bruno Fernandes's form. United are obviously confident, and we're lucky not to lose against Everton. So that makes us unbeaten in 8 games now. I don't know who it favours really this fixture. I have this weird feeling as a United fan that if we're at the Etihad, United will win. If we're at Old Trafford, Man City will win.
Yeah, it's weird. I think it'll probably. I don't know if it was at the Etihad, it would favour United a bit more. But like you said, Fernandes it's made United into a different team.
I'm surprised at his instant impact.
Yeah. His output already as well. Is quite
3
brilliant.
goals in his last 3 games.
So yeah. Phil, do you think it favours United more, or do you think it favours City more? Obviously, you'll be licking your lips at this fixture as a Liverpool fan.
Both teams are in great form. United, obviously, like Cam said, 8 games unbeaten. They've won 5 of those and drawn 3. And 2 of those were against Man City. Obviously, they crashed out in the Carabao Cup semi-final, but they did win 1-0, and they did play well. They stuck to the game plan. And then they beat Chelsea at Stamford Bridge 2-0. So going away and keeping 2 clean sheets does sort of suit the agenda that when you go away from home, you expect United to maybe get a better result. But of the 10 games they've lost this season, United, they've only lost 2 at home, and they were sort of 2 shock defeats, in my opinion, Crystal Palace and Burnley. I think United will be confident for this, but I think Man City, they're in a good vein of form themselves. We're beating Leicester in the league a week or so ago.
Yeah.
Then travelling to Madrid, a huge win for them, and then picking up another trophy the weekend just gone. They'll be very confident going into this one themselves, and the last couple of trips to the Etihad, not the Etihad, Old Trafford for them, they have won in the league, I think.
Yeah.
So for me, I am sort of edging towards Man City, but I think it's going to be a very close game.
What do you think?
Trying to predict this. I don't know. Like, I guess games like this, I know both teams are in a great run of form, but I think like form goes out the window in big derby games. I don't know. It could be City absolutely romp 'em, or United just kind of did what they did at the Etihad and soak up the pressure and hit on the counter attack with the obvious pace that they've got. Prediction. 2-0.
2.
City.
What about you, Cam? What do you predict?
I'll go for 1-1.
I'm going for 2-1 Man City in this one. I can see both teams scoring. I think the one thing I did forget about is that Laporte's out, and you are a different team to when he's in it.
Yeah, maybe I didn't. Maybe.
But I do still think in the form that you're in, you'll have enough, because you played it the Bernabeu without Laporte for a majority of the game. So I think you might. I think you will have too much for United, but I think it'll be one of those games that's very well even. I think it'll take a moment of quality from either team to win this one, but I think City might just have the edge. But it wouldn't surprise me if I saw Man City drop points here.
Yeah, it wouldn't surprise me either.
I think, as like you said, from my point of view, it's one of those games where I'm hoping that Man United can win, just because.
Just to ease the pressure.
Liverpool are going through this patch.
Why are we even saying that?
Liverpool are going for a bit of a blip, and I think if City were to drop points, Liverpool,
it might ease
on
them a little
paper,
bit.
they've got Bournemouth at home this weekend.
Tough game.
Well, on paper you wouldn't suggest it. So I think this is where it could get Liverpool's confidence back up again, and hopefully, from my point of view, Man City will lose. But I think Man City will win this one, but only just.
Okay. So, we'll move to Italy now. Big game in Serie A this weekend. If it does go ahead, I don't know if they're still dealing with.
All the games are being played behind doors till the 3rd of April.
Oh, right.
So it's going ahead.
Okay. Because obviously we previewed Juve Inter, and that's what else. When's that happening?
I'm not sure, but it got postponed. I've not seen when it's rearranged for.
Okay. So like I said, Atalanta versus Lazio. Atalanta in 4th, Lazio in first right now because obviously Juve and Inter didn't play last weekend. Lazio unbeaten since September. I don't think anyone predicted. I think everyone predicted in Serie A this season for it to be between Juve, Inter, and Napoli, but kind of Lazio have been going along quite quietly, just doing the business, not losing basically. Immobile is on track for a record-breaking season. I think he scored 25 goals in 21 games this season. Atalanta as well, we should mention, also in a great run of form, beat Lecce 7-2 on Sunday. Kind of goes to show that they are really good at attacking, but they're also kind of very leaky at the back as well. Do you think Atalanta can break the unbeaten run of Lazio, Phil?
I think they can have a very good go at it. They've won 5 of the last 6, Atalanta. That includes a 4-1 win against Valencia.
Mm-hmm.
So they'll have all that confidence because it's their first Champions League campaign.
Yeah.
So to beat a team in the round of 16, in good fashion as well, you're going to have loads of confidence. And then off the back of a 7-2 thrashing last weekend, you're going to have even more. I think it's hard to sort of predict this game because Lazio haven't lost since the 25th September, and that was against Inter Milan.
Mm-hmm.
And
Is that the only game they've lost this season?
In the league, yeah. Obviously, they've lost in the cup competitions and Europa League, but they haven't lost in the league, like we've said. And it's just it's hard to predict because when I was looking, Lazio finished 8th last season, and now they found themselves first. Yeah. In a battle against Juventus and Inter, but mainly Juventus, I'd say now. I think Atalanta have the potential to cause Lazio a lot of problems, but I think it's that fragile defence for me that you have to sort of stick to Lazio, because Atalanta have conceded 34 goals, at least 10 more than any other team in the top 4 this season. So for me, I think Lazio will win this one.
Cam, do you think... what was I going to ask? My mind's gone blank. Oh, do you think that's it? Do you think Lazio can make a genuine, realistic push now for the title?
Yeah, I think when you're this far into the season now, and as Phil mentioned, unbeaten since the 21st September.
25th.
25th,
yeah,
all right. So, but since then, I think it shows that, they are in a title race, and Simone Inzaghi, for a manager of his age, and to show his tactical ability, and to be in this level of a title race now against people were saying a 2-horse race really between Inter Milan and Juve. I think they have to be strong contenders to win it.
We were saying it's going to be it's going to be between Juventus and Inter. We
only said it 3 weeks ago.
Literally, yeah.
I know. Obviously, Juventus have 1 game in hand on Lazio, and Inter Milan have 2. So if Inter Milan win their 2 games in hand on Lazio, they'd be 2 points behind them.
Ooh.
And if Juve were to win their game in hand, they'll be 1 point ahead of Lazio.
Ooh, okay. Phil, so are you predicting a Lazio win?
I'm going to go for 3-1 Lazio.
Ooh, okay.
I think Sorry,
no, go on, carry on.
No, I just think due to that defence that Atalanta have, it's not the best, and I think Lazio will take advantage of that. Immobile is in great form, has been for the last couple of years. So for me, I think Lazio, it'll be a close game, but they'll just edge it 3-1.
Okay. Cam?
Well, hopefully I jinx it, because these are 2 highest scoring teams in the league, so I'm going to go for 0-0.
Ooh.
We normally jinx it and go the other way. So,
I'm going to go...
Reverse psychology.
Yeah.
I'm going to go Atalanta to win 2-1.
Big
All
show.
back in different results.
I feel like maybe, I know Atalanta aren't great at the back, but they're so good going forward.
70 goals he scored in the league this year.
It's probably 15, 20 more than what Juve scored.
10 more than Lazio.
Yeah.
I know that.
Yeah. I think if a team's going to beat Lazio, it's going to be an attack like that that can score goals at will. So I'm going to go that 2-1. So we'll move on. We'll go to Germany now. Big game there also this weekend. I think it's Sunday. They play Mönchengladbach versus Dortmund. Mönchengladbach in 4th level on points with Leverkusen in 5th. Dortmund are 3rd?
Third in the league.
Yeah, they're not far off top either. Obviously, the Bundesliga title race has been kind of hot property all year. But yeah, some fascinating matchups in this one. Who comes out on top, Phil?
In my opinion, Dortmund. They've won 4 on a bounce and they've not conceded a goal in that spell, which is strange for Dortmund.
Mm-hmm.
I think you have to give credit to Borussia Mönchengladbach.
What was that? Mönchengladbach.
I was just trying to say it as quick as I could. I mean, but you sort of have to appreciate both teams because they both had successful seasons as a whole. They've unbeaten in the last 5 games themselves. They've won 3 of them. But I think they've conceded 7 in the last 5, which plays into Borussia Dortmund's hands a bit. Because obviously they've got one of the best and young, exciting attacks in the world football right now. So I think for me, Dortmund will carry on the winning streak in this game. I think they need to as well.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, they need to sustain that pressure.
I think, realistically, do you think they could win the league, or do you think it's in Bayern's hands?
I think Bayern. Either Bayern or Leipzig. I think Dortmund always seem to, like last
Whenever
season,
they get close, they seem to battle it.
Yeah, I feel like, especially the form that Bayern are showing now as well.
Bayern have got that experience in this situation, haven't they? They'll just get through it and get the job done.
Yeah, I like the look of Mönchengladbach though. They've got Marco Roche as manager. What?
I thought you were saying
I thought you were saying Royce.
Marco Roche, the manager of Mönchengladbach.
I didn't know his name.
Yeah, I like the. You've thrown me off now. Appointed from Salzburg, obviously, not just good young players they're bringing in now. They're also bringing in good young. Is that correct? Can you not? Obviously, bringing in good coaching staff now as well. Yeah, they've also got loads of good players, loads of good, young talents as well. I think, like we mentioned, Dennis Zakaria linked with Liverpool. Yeah, I know. Marcus Thuram, obviously one of the most exciting, powerful wingers/strikers in the world right now. They've got Florian Neuhaus, the attacking midfielder. He's only young as well. I think he's 21. Kind of overlooked in Germany for some reason. But yeah, I feel like Mönchengladbach might win this one. I also feel like they might keep Dortmund at bay. I think it might be 2-0 Gladbach. I'm going to go for. Cam, what do you think?
I think I'll agree with you. I think they'll keep Dortmund. I think it'll be 1-0 Mönchengladbach. Mönchengladbach don't score too many, but they've only scored 46. That's 20 behind Dortmund. Mm-hmm. But yeah, I think Mönchengladbach, especially with Mönchengladbach being at home as well, I think they'll get the 1-0 win.
I've gone 3-1 Dortmund.
3-1 Dortmund.
They've conceded 7 in the last 5. I think Dortmund will take advantage of that.
And
they've won 4 on the bounce as well. One of those is against PSG, a huge win for them in Champions League. I just think they'll have too much for them.
Dortmund are dodgy away from home though. Like in big games as well. In big games, they are very.
I expect them to buck the trend here. I think they'll win.
Gonna have to disagree with you on that one.
We've agreed on quite a lot. We've disagreed on quite a lot this podcast.
Yeah, we haven't we? So we 2v1 on that one then. Mönchengladbach to win, I think. Yeah, we can all agree on that then. So finally, the last game of the podcast today that we're going to preview, Atletico v Sevilla in La Liga. 3rd v 5th. Or 5th v 3rd, or whatever you want to interpret it as. Atletico, like we've mentioned, we've talked about them quite a lot on the podcast. Obviously having a bit of a transition season, barring their amazing win against Liverpool. And they play Sevilla, who are so far like best of the rest in the Liga. I think Barca and Real have been kind of kind of stormed ahead as obviously the main two contenders for the league. Who wins, Phil? What do you make to it?
It was a tough one to predict this because both teams are unbeaten in the last 5. In that spell, they've won impressive games. Atletico, Liverpool 1-0, but Sevilla beat Getafe 3-0 away from home. Obviously, Getafe are experiencing a great season themselves. Knocked Ajax out the other week in the Europa League. But I think Sevilla, although they've been unbeaten, they've not been that impressive. They drew 2 games in a row against Cluj, only scoring 1 goal in that period. And then I just think Atletico might have a bit too much for them here. But again, it could easily end up a draw.
Score?
I've gone for 2-1
Atletico. Cam, what do you think? Because Atletico, I think, have been kind of... They've rebuilt, but I think they're a bit exhausted as well. They played a lot of games, and I think having that... having kind of Simeone's style exerted on a younger team, I think it could be quite draining. Obviously, you've seen the injuries that they've picked up this season with Costa, Felix, and a few others. Who do you think wins this one?
I think I'll agree with Phil for once. I think
That's the first.
I know. Yeah. I think Atletico will just edge it. I think this is a must-win game for them. Otherwise, it starts to get dangerous then in the Champions League race for qualification. But I do think Atletico will just edge it. I think they'll keep the momentum up, especially with them being at home as well. I'm going for a 2-0 win.
Oh, I don't know. I might just sit on the fence here. Atletico look like... What?
Thinking back to Cam's split.
Oh yeah, last week. Yeah, yeah. Just Atletico don't really score much and don't really concede much either. I know it's a bit of a boring take, but that's kind of the premise of Atletico Madrid under Diego Simeone. 1-1 or 0-0.
Don't sound too enthusiastic.
No, I'm not really. Like Atletico aren't even the second best team in Madrid right now. Getafe are from Madrid. That's that reference, Phil. Thanks for that. Sevilla, I don't know.
You sound thrilled about this game.
Yeah, I'm flagging a bit as well. I can't lie. So yeah, 0-0, 1-1, 0-0, 0-0. What are you going for?
I went 2-0.
2-1.
All right.
2-1. All right, I get it. All right. Okay. Right.
Just making sure you heard.
Okay, that will. So we'll wrap up today's podcast. We're all flagging a little bit. I think.
I think that's just you, mate.
We've not had much. We've not had much sleep.
Bringing us down with him.
Sorry for the dodgy host today.
Shut up.
You'll be better next week.
If you did enjoy the podcast, make sure to give it a like, subscribe, tell your mates. Also, any feedback or anything else you want us to talk about on the podcast, that would be greatly appreciated. And remember, we're also on Instagram at the 451 podcast. That is THE 451 PODCAST. So if you did enjoy it, make sure to like all that good stuff, and we will speak to you next week with another very interesting and very enthralling podcast.
Thank you.
Thank
Goodbye.
you.
Thank you.